Bioshock is a retro-futuristic first-person shooter video game that was released in 2007. For this challenge, I will use gene modification, a wrench, security systems, and manual saves to fight enemies. Bioshock is a shooter game that was designed to be played with multiple weapons of mass destruction. The wrench simply does not measure up in comparison. Using the wrench forces you into close combat situations which are fatal when dealing with a large, overpowered enemy. So can you beat Bioshock with the wrench on survival difficulty? Let's get into it. After surviving a plane crash in the mid-Atlantic region, I swam to a nearby lighthouse. Upon entering the lighthouse, I was greeted with propaganda posters by someone named Andrew Ryan. I found a bathysphere and decided that the plane crash just wasn't hardcore enough. Despite being in the middle of the ocean, I was still somehow subjected to a presentation, probably by a try-hard ex-McKinsey consultant trying to play God.
I am Andrew Ryan. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor.
I included this part of the cutscene because it's my favorite cutscene in the whole game. Even though Bioshock is not a horror game, it does come across like it every now and then. Having played Bioshock several times now, I will say that the storytelling needed a bit more work.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio? I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence. I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive.
I got my first and only weapon, a wrench, and walked straight into the rubble, looking for a fight. This is a good time to let you know that Bioshock is rated 17+ because of mature themes like gore, violence, alcohol, and tobacco consumption. Even though I have tried my best to edit it out, the video may contain flashing lights. So if you have photosensitive epilepsy, please consider watching this in a brightly lit room or not watching it at all. I almost died in the first fight against a splicer, which made me reconsider playing the game on survivor mode entirely. I gathered some supplies from trash cans, as one does, and it was time to modify my genetics, so I could electrocute splicers with my bare hands.
Now, your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
After a power nap, I ventured into Rapture.
Alright, boyo. First time plasma's a real kick from a mule. But there's nothing like a fistful of lightning now, is there?
I saved my game and began looking for items I could use, like Eve hypos or potato chips.
Splicer! Give him the combo. Zap him, then whack him. 1-2 punch. Remember, the 1-2 punch!
I then took the slowest elevator in the world, only to have Atlas request me to quote-unquote kindly help him in Neptune's bounty.
Got a family. I need to get them out of here. But the splicers have cut me off from them.
So I grabbed a protein bar and some supplies from a nearby vigil, and walked into a restaurant where I found a splicer pretending to care for a baby. There was no baby, it was all a ruse. During some of the scenes in this video, I will replace the audio with some relaxing music, because Bioshock is a little overwhelming sometimes. This is one of the critiques I have about the game. The game allows for audio diaries to be played while the player is fighting someone, along with sound effects going off in the background. It's all a little too much. Here I learned about little sisters and big daddies, and this is where the game got a little weird for me as well when I first played it. It's something you just have to put up with when you're playing the game. I saved my game, ate a cream-filled cake, and continued electrocuting splicers. To enter Medical Pavilion, which is the next chapter, I had to fight a group of thuggish splicers, and leadhead splicers. I did this using the popular speedrunning technique by standing near the pool of water and zapping them with electricity. I gathered some supplies and walked on over, ready to face some real challenges in this game. This last cutscene did scare the living heck out of me the first time I played it. Medical Pavilion, the chapter that cost me many, many lives. I saved the game, grabbed a few free supplies, and hacked a security bot to proceed with the story.
What is that there? You're worthless! You're nothing!
I then dealt some damage to a couple of splicers, pulled a few levers, and was tasked with fighting more splicers. The goal was to find Steinman and get the key from him. But I wanted to get the Incinerate Plasmid and the Hacker's Delight Tonic first. I managed to trick a Nitro Splicer, before hacking a security camera. I got the Hacker's Delight Tonic, which restores a small amount of health when you hack something. I crawled through the crawl space and got my hands on the Incinerate Plasmid.
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
After setting a few splicers on fire, I went after Steinman.
They're sounding off like it's the 4th of July. Explosives are hard to come by down here. But if you get your hands on one of them telekinesis plasmids, you can catch the damn firebombs and toss it right back in his gob.
But to clear the rubble, I needed the telekinesis plasmid. Weirdly enough, the telekinesis plasmid was in the dental ward of Medical Pavilion. After an awkward interaction with a splicer, who left the fight halfway, I managed to avoid fighting a bunch more by simply not picking up the shotgun in the room. That's a little hack for you if you ever want to try this out. I got myself the telekinesis plasmid.
Throw objects at foes. You can even catch grenades and throw them back.
Completed the tutorial and tested it on a splicer nearby. I then found a wrench jockey tonic in the same ward. But this is when I realized I couldn't enter frozen fields in Medical Pavilion because I had 2 plasmid slots, and neither of them had the incinerate plasmid. With no gene bank nearby, I had no way to melt the ice at the entrance, so I decided to revisit this later. I went on my merry way to destroy Steinman. I used a grenade to clear the debris.
Get him! Have your harpies tear him to bits!
It took more than 3 tries to kill Steinman because the bots managed to get me twice. I hacked the turret, got some supplies from a hole in the wall, and was ready to face my first boss.
This one, Aphrodite! She won't stay!
A deranged, narcissistic, sexist medical professional who seems to have a lot in common with Chris Brown.
Too fat! This one! Too tall! This one! Too symmetrical!
So I had to end him.
Look at you! Hideous! Look at...
I took the key off of Steinman. Hacked a safe, got myself a whole lot of medical supplies. Then I took a new route to Medical Pavilion.
Not have him hurt my little ones!
I got introduced to Dr. Tannenbaum, whose backstory is a lot more disturbing than you'd expect. I saved a little sister by performing an exorcism, for which I received 80 Adam. And with that, I got myself an Eve upgrade at the Gatherer's Garden. Feeling confident, I chucked a crate at a Big Daddy. And it was gradual, but regret did set in when I realized I didn't manually save most of the last 30 odd minutes of gameplay. So I did it all over again. Though this time I opened the emergency access, and just like that, I left for Neptune's bounty. Neptune's bounty. When it comes to art and cutscenes, Bioshock was ahead of its time.
What crawls in my garden?
Starting off with a lower wharf, I crawled in the crawl space so I could hack not one, but 2 sneaky turrets that were placed across each other.
heard that.
After hacking yet another turret, I finally made my way to Fontaine Fisheries, where a dude named Peach Wilkins made me take photographs of spider splicers for research.
Atlas radioed on ahead. Says you're looking for an invite to the fisheries.
I was pretty clueless about this task at first, because I thought I had to click pictures of all splicers. So that is what I did.
Oh, give me some snaps on those spider splicers.
Judah!
I used my expert hacking skills to fight the splicers off. Collected a wrench locker tonic on my way, and with much difficulty I got back to Fontaine Fisheries.
The warp rat didn't get himself that. It's to set on some coffee. Maybe puts on silverware and the like.
If that's his price, you're gonna have to pay it. We can't very well take your plasmas away now, can he?
Peach Wilkins wanted all my weapons before he let me into Fontaine Fisheries, which was fine by me. I wasn't using them anyway. In this clip, I am about to fight Peach Wilkins and his splicers. If you want to try this challenge by yourself, follow my lead. First, you've got to wait near the vending machine till Peach completes his monologue.
Now, I bet when your boss waggled out of hell, he done told the devil he'd be right back.
Then, without skipping a beat, run to your left and hack the security camera. Then run back and hack the vending machine so you could buy stuff quickly, if you need to. Then, make sure you have the incinerate and electrable plasmids in your plasmid track so you could use them on the turret. Hack the turret next, and wait behind the shield, conveniently placed to the left. Unfortunately for me, the turret accidentally hit a hacked drone, which it seemed to take personally. And let's just say I lost a little bit of health here because of all of this. Once the turret is destroyed, you've got to get out and fight Peach Wilkins and any other splicer around. I spent some time looking for loot around the upper floor, but when I gathered my weapons from the pneumo tube system, a bug reset all of my health and Eve to what it was before I found Beach Wilkins. So I had to reset my game to a save from after I defeated Beach Wilkins, and I avoided the Pneumo system this time. I melted the crawl space that led to the next chapter, Smuggler's Hideout.
You got it. Should be smooth sailing from here. I'll meet you up ahead.
Smuggler's Hideout is a really simple, quick chapter on the game. Follow my lead if you'd like to beat it in survival difficulty. First, reach the control booth. But before you pull the lever, make sure to go look for loot, as there is a bunch of cash under the stairs. Then use the lever in the control panel and, well, run for your life.
Anything except just stand here and watch you die.
And we'll regroup as soon as we can. Get out if you can. Get out and we'll regroup.
I was very, very close to death here. With no health and no Eve, even stabbing my toe on a pebble would have killed me.
There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it or eliminate it.
Get out! Get out and get to Arcadia!
Now that Andrew Ryan killed Atlas's family, I escaped to Arcadia, the next chapter of the game. Arcadia was beautiful. It might seem like I'm breezing through this level, but I died many, many times. Splicers are relentless, and if I included every fight scene, this video would have been several hours long. Much like any other video game, if you get the timing right, you can beat any boss. The goal was to get to the metro station, but I needed supplies, else I wouldn't be able to continue the game. Often that meant exploring the map, which also meant fighting more splicers. Andrew Ryan tried to sabotage Arcadia, the only source of oxygen for the entirety of Rapture.
But I think Ryan has just killed Arcadia. The man's put something foul into the air.
It almost seems like he's trying to destroy what he created. Weird. Saving Arcadia was a long, disturbing fetch quest. The first item to be fetched was a sample of the Rosa Gallica.
Look in the grotto. I've got to keep working while there's time. That's all your time is
My territory.
I saved my game as soon as I got the specimen.
You've brought the Rosa Gallica? What are you waiting for? An engraved invitation? Send it through the Pneumo.
and ran back to Dr. Langford, who wanted to meet me. But when I got to her office, Andrew Ryan had other plans. Now that Langford was no more, it was up to me to save Arcadia.
I've been killing trees for 25 years.
By building the Lazarus Vector. So I ran out of the office assuming it was safe outside, but it wasn't. I died trying to fight splicers in Langford's office. And my last save was after I found the Rosa Gallica. To you, that may have been a few seconds ago, but to me, that was 45 plus minutes worth of gameplay that I had to redo. I will skip to the main story though. The Lazarus Vector could be crafted with a few items from the farmer's market. So off I went to the farmer's market. I had to gather 7 B enzymes, 7 bottles of distilled water, and 6 chlorophyll solutions to craft the Lazarus Vector. I don't hate this part of the game, but I am not a fan of fetch quests on survival difficulty. I died so many times trying to craft the Lazarus Vector that I had to step away from the game for about a week because it was just too much. After getting the enzymes, I went on to look for the other items, hacking turrets, cameras, and vending machines along the way. The chlorophyll solutions were only found on Houdini splicers, and they were frustrating to defeat.
When you get some money, buddy.
Finally, I hacked a U-invent machine and managed to craft the Lazarus Vector. Ryan sent his henchmen and security bots to stop me from deploying the Lazarus Vector. One of my strategies, even when I play Minecraft, is to simply run from your enemies. That often works, because it is likely that they are programmed to stay in one location on the map, and they won't follow you around. I killed the splicer in Langford's office, crafted a few auto-hack tools, and inserted the canister into the machine. And that wasn't even the hard part. The hard part is fending off the splicers, big daddies, and security bots from preventing the Lazarus Vector from being deployed. You would assume the splicers would want to be able to breathe, but I guess not. I purchased some supplies from a hacked vending machine, and the fight began. I have cut most of the fight scenes out because they are very chaotic. I did leave some in, so you will get an idea of just how chaotic this was.
Ready? What are you waiting for? Hit the damn switch!
This one's ready for
Finally, I deployed the Lazarus Vector.
Well done, lad. Take a deep breath and enjoy it. Then head over to Rolling Hills and get the bathysphere. Next stop is Ryan's house. It's time for blood.
I swiftly ran to the metro station and left for Fort Frolic. I spent $1 on Epstein the Swami, only for it to say that I was down on my luck.
Perhaps in a past life you did something terrible to somebody.
Ah, that's better. Atlas Ryan. Atlas Ryan.
Sander Cohen made an interesting introduction. He had me fight some splicers to meet him at the Fleet Hall.
Where are my manners? Come in! Come in! Sander Cohen awaits you at the Fleet Hall. Welcome to Fort Frolic. No need to thank me for jamming.
Sander Cohen was an eccentric artist who enjoyed creating and collecting art. He wanted me to fight 3 of his enemies and take pictures of them for his weird art display. Without much of a choice, I agreed. My first task was getting Fitzpatrick.
Allegro. Oh, that was quicker than I hoped. And now you've got Fitzpatrick caught in his moment of glory.
I was paid with items for every photograph. Next was Finnegan. who did put up a good fight.
I can see your
I got the frozen field tonic from Finnegan, which was incredibly useful in this run. Cobb was next. But as soon as I completed that, Cohen flipped like a switch and sent his henchmen to get me. Now there aren't many FPS games where I enjoy a fight scene, but this was different. The choice to use the Waltz of Flowers by Tchaikovsky as background music created a moment of soundtrack dissonance, which changed the vibe of the fight scene entirely. I really wanted to keep the original game sounds in, but because the version used in the game is copyrighted by an orchestra, I couldn't. Instead, I used the original Waltz of Flowers to give you a glimpse of it. These splice saws were different. They were quick, they didn't speak, which made the scene horror-esque. And though I had the Incinerate Plasmid equipped, I couldn't replenish my Eve bar in time. I'm glad that I could fight them off with my wrench though.
I'm sorry for that outburst.
After that fiasco, I had to take one last picture. That of Rodriguez.
He was a lout. Get the photo before he completely dries up.
I got the photo and completed Cohen's masterpiece.
It is accomplished.
He gave me a new tonic, and it was time to look for Andrew Ryan in Hephaestus. At Hephaestus, Atlas asked me to kill Andrew Ryan in his office. And when I got there, Ryan called me a worm in an audio diary.
A worm looks up and sees the face of God.
He locked himself inside his office using maglocks and sent several Leadhead and Houdini splicers to stop me. My next task was really random. I had to overload the core to blast through Ryan's office. After watching a traumatizing fight between a Big Daddy and a splicer, I got tricked by a hacked vending machine. Do you have any guesses as to how I had to overload the core? That's right, I had to build a bomb. The ionic gel and nitroglycerin were easy, but the wire clusters were found in Big Daddy suits. The first two were relatively easy. But then I found this Big Daddy here. And the same turrets that got me the first Big Daddy also got me killed. So I had to load up a save and do all that all over again.
Casing is ready. 1 charge of nitro.
This time the second Big Daddy had a little sister with him, so I performed an exorcism, got myself the electro bolt to plasmid, and went back for round 2 with the elite bouncer. This time the turrets were not as powerful, so I had to get creative. He was very low on health, but so was I. I saved my game and tried to fight him from the crawl space that he couldn't climb into. It took many tries, but I was finally able to get him. That was number 3. I went back to look for the little sister so I could save her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. After much hesitation, I attacked a third bouncer and I ran for my life, occasionally stopping to see if he was following me, because sometimes I get stuck in one location if you run too fast. I got into the crawl space, but now I had a splicer and a Big Daddy to beat, all with 0 health and 2 Eve hypos. It wasn't looking too good for me. So I loaded another save and hacked into the scientist's office. But because it was full of traps, I had to get some supplies from a hacked vending machine fast. I went back to the office and got the nitroglycerin. I then managed to get a Big Daddy stuck inside the room, where I hacked another turret. But the turret didn't do much damage. I tried to get away from him, but he got to me eventually. It took me several tries to kill the last Big Daddy, and because I had to record and re-record the scene several times, when I actually beat him, I was unaware that my recording software wasn't recording. I was very disappointed, but there was nothing to be done. Because there is no way I could do all of that all over again without wasting time. I saved the little sister that was with the Big Daddy, and I received a present from Dr. Tenenbaum. With enough of Adam to purchase an Eve upgrade, a health upgrade, and finally, a new plasmid slot. Here is the bouncer that I managed to beat using hacked security cameras. I grabbed some supplies and constructed the bomb. The new goal was to redirect the magma flow. This was easier than I expected because I hacked both turrets that took care of all the splicers that tried to stop me. I took an elevator to the bottom and I found the missing little sister. She was here the whole time. I saved the little sister, got myself some Adam, and purchased Eve Saver and Wrench Lurker tonics from the Gatherer's Garden. I then placed a bomb and let it overload the core, whatever that means. Once that happened, I had to go back to Andrew Ryan's office to end him. I used hacked security cameras and bots to defeat splicers. And finally made my way into the office.
In the end, all that matters to me is you. And all that matters to you is you.
And once inside, I watched a cutscene where I learned that Atlas is Frank Fontaine. And that Atlas has some sort of mind control on me. And no, I don't know who Frank Fontaine is yet. Of course, I do know because I've played this game before, but let's just pretend for the sake of the story. This is where the story takes a turn.
Nice work, Bio.
The little sisters took me to their hideout, and Tenenbaum let me know that there was a way to remove the spell Atlas had on me.
That's mine.
And I found out through an audio diary that the antidote is in Frank Fontaine's apartment. After killing a bunch of splicers, I finally found it. But it was just half of the antidote, so it made my genetics all wonky, and I no longer could control which plasmid I had access to. I found the rest of the antidote in Dr. Sushong's clinic. And Atlas could no longer control my brain. Woo!
Suchong's drugs should have no hold on you.
Point Prometheus.
What is this you wait for? Go and get this idiot!
I found Frank Fontaine for a brief second, but he made me chase him down. And then sent drones to attack me. The first drone blew up when it touched water. And the second one was a little buggy. It couldn't really see me there. It's hard to explain why, but I had to become a Big Daddy to beat Fontaine. To do this, I had to smell like one, sound like one, and wear similar armor. I found the boots, the larynx modifier, bodysuit, and a helmet. I was fighting splicers the entire time, but since I couldn't include all the clips in, I will include one now.
Maybe else is you yet, I think. There is only one piece missing, the pheromone. Go to the Little Wonders Educational Facility.
I got 3 samples of Big Daddy perfume. And it was time to prove that I was one.
You need to bring them out of hiding and then they'll let you in the door. Go on, hit the vent with your wrench.
I helped the little sister gather Adam from 3... what should I call them? 3 involuntary donors, while I fought off splicers. To make things worse, the little sister would run towards me, and because of entity collision, I couldn't move. And because I couldn't move, I was an easy target. The final boss in the Proving Grounds was yet another Big Daddy. Why would he be annoyed with me? I am literally just like him. I managed to beat the Big Daddy with security cameras and drones.
Time for bed, Mr. B. No time for this.
And I finally got my hands on an atom harvesting tool. I got a lot of money from the splicers on the Proving Grounds, and I was able to max out my Eve and health bars. I made sure to check if I had the right plasmids, and this was it. This is the entire Frank Fontaine fight on Survivor difficulty uncut. If you're trying to complete this challenge, follow my strategy. Make sure to explore the entire arena before you start the fight, because there are barrels of fuel everywhere, and that will help you beat him. There are 3 stages to this fight. In the first stage, he shoots fireballs, so the incinerate plasmid does very little damage. I used the telekinesis plasmid to shoot his fireballs back at him, kind of like an Uno reverse card. The only strategy here is to make sure you get close to him and aim lower because of the wobbly camera movement that changes the way you aim all of a sudden. Wait and follow his movement, else you will miss him entirely. His fireballs reduce visibility, so you will not know if he's running towards you to punch you. Always throw it at him and move out of the way. The second stage is where he uses Winter Blast. For this, use the Incinerate 2 plasmid, as it seems to do a lot of damage. Use the bot shutdown panel, and then hack the bot to use it against him. For some reason, Fontaine takes a while to fight the bot. And while he is distracted, you can use the wrench to fight him. Stage 3, Electricity and Splicers. Employ all the tricks I've mentioned and you should be able to win the fight. The story is difficult to follow, and the inclusion of little sisters is questionable. Apart from that, Bioshock was ahead of its time, considering the art, the main concept of the game, and the ability to construct unique skill trees. This challenge was brutal. It took me 19 hours to complete it, and a lot longer to edit. I would appreciate if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel. So can you beat Bioshock Remastered with a wrench on survival difficulty with no Vita Chambers? Absolutely. Do I recommend you try it? Absolutely not. Goodbye!